Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Quick introduction. My name is Kaya Ann. I'm a yoga practitioner, instructor, stretch therapist, and I am a podcaster. I host my own show called The Perfect Prana Show. Each week, I have a yoga theme where I talk concepts and I design yoga practices to go along with those concepts. This practice is meant to go along with Prana 4.7, which the yoga theme is expansion. When I think of expanding, I think of having the freedom to do so. I do want to talk about the concept a little bit, but before we do, just something to note, you might need 2 yoga blocks in this practice. Other than that, you can skip ahead to the practice if you would like. If you want to talk about the concept of expanding, then let's do so. Something else to note is I forgot to film the intro for this video when I filmed the practice, so I had to do it right now, and that's just for the confusion. Anyways, I really like the concept of expansion because I think of freedom to expand and to grow. And I've gone through life feeling imprisoned a lot and imprisoned by a lot of things, whether it being imprisoned in my body, the environment I'm in. I could feel imprisoned with habits, with relationships. There were a lot of aspects where I felt stuck and restricted and like I just don't have the space to do what I want, be who I am, or to make this change. And when I first started getting heavily into yoga, that was something I thought a lot when we were doing certain postures and transitions. I was like, I don't have the space in my body to do that transition or to do this posture. Once I learned to connect my breath to the posture and to the movement, the space started to be created in my body, and I started surprising myself. My limbs felt more free. I felt like I had more space to move. Everything felt less heavy. And isn't that just like life? If you get in a position where there's a lot of tension, if you could just breathe through that, the space will be created. You'll find the space. Or maybe you'll be able to adjust to where you can move just a little bit more and everything feels just a little bit easier. So, in this asana practice, I do include a lot of movements that feel restrictive or that build a lot of tension. We have to have that feeling of restriction to understand what the feeling of freedom feels like, right? One can't exist without the other. So I think about this idea in life, of course, but I also think about in the physical sense. What makes me feel the most spacious is when I feel really small and boxed in, and then I break out of that and I feel like, wow, I've really grown and I've gotten bigger and I'm really taking up space in the physical sense. And the same can be said about life. If you're ever going through a time period where you feel restricted, just know that'll pass. Just keep breathing, just keep living through that, and you'll eventually learn to break free. You'll eventually adjust to that space or make adjustments to where you're in a new space, and you'll be able to grow and expand and you'll be stronger. Anyways, that's all that I really have to say about the concept of expansion. So let's just get on with the video.
This practice will begin on your back. If you have back sensitivities, feel free to bend your knees. If not, extend your legs. Place one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and notice your breath without controlling it. Notice how the breath expands your belly and your chest. And just settle into your mat. We'll begin to do a bit of a pattern breathing. So no matter what breath you're on, push out all the air. And with me, take a sniff of breath in, only filling up your belly, and just hold that. And then exhale completely, emptying out your belly. Take another sniff of breath into your belly and then into your ribs. And hold that. And then exhale from your ribs, and then from your belly completely. Repeat that again, another breath into your belly, into your ribs. Exhale from your ribs. Exhale from your belly, pushing out all the air. Once again, into your belly, breathing into your ribs. Next, breathing into your chest. Exhale from your chest. Exhale from your ribs. And then exhale from your belly. Repeat that one last time, into your belly, into your ribs, and then into your chest. Exhale from your chest. Exhale from your ribs. And then exhale from your belly. Now, putting it all together, smooth inhale through your nose, filling up your belly, your ribs, in your chest. Exhaling from your nose, deflating your chest, then your ribs, then your belly. Keep these deep, full breaths throughout your practice as you're breathing in, filling up all the way, and as you're exhaling, letting the breath leave in the reversed order. Next breath in, extend through your fingertips, your toes, your arms. Exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Repeating that again, inhaling, reaching your arms up overhead. Exhaling, hugging your knees into your chest. Repeating this one last time, breathing in to extend, reaching through your fingertips and your toes, and exhale, hugging your knees into your chest. And rock up to a seated position. Cross your legs. Reach your arms forward, plant your hands, spread your fingers wide, lift your tailbone, uncross your shins, and come into a tabletop position. Press the tops of your feet into the floor and breathe in to lift up your chest, pull your shoulders back, and exhale to round your spine, looking at the tops of your thighs. Breathing in to extend, separate your sit bones. Exhale to round, gazing at your belly button. Following that movement with your breath, using your inhale to extend, gazing in between your eyebrows. Exhale to round your spine, push the ground away. Next breath in, extend your right leg into the air and draw it to the right. Ground your right foot, turn your toes to the right, bend your right knee and shift your hips back into space, reach your arms forward, back into a neutral tabletop, draw your leg into the air and cross your right knee behind your left knee and shift your hips back into space. We'll repeat this stretch again, remembering your breath as you draw your leg into the air, you're breathing in. And as you're shifting your hips back into space in this open hip position, you're exhaling. Breathe in to draw your leg into the air, and as you're breathing out, coming into your cow face legs with your legs crossed, Gomukhasana. Draw your right leg back into the air and reset into a neutral tabletop position. Breathe in to extend your left leg behind you. Bring it to the left. Plant your foot down and your toes pointed toward the left. Shift your hips back into space, coming back up, drawing your leg to the center, and then crossing your left knee behind your right, shifting your hips back into space, coming back to your tabletop position, drawing your leg to the left, staying with the breath of movement. As you exhale, you're shifting your hips back into space. And as you're coming up, you're breathing in and crossing your left knee behind your right, shifting your hips back into space. And then coming up into a neutral tabletop position, untangle your legs, reset, spread your fingers wide, plant your hands beneath your shoulders, your knees beneath your hips, tuck your toes, shift your hips back into space. Gaze at your belly button. It's okay if you can't see it. And then lift your hips up and back into space, keeping your hands and feet in place. If you came into a high plank position, your hands should be directly under your shoulders. Push your heels toward the ground, and it's okay if they don't touch. Just feel a nice stretch throughout the back of your legs. Point your toes forward and maybe slightly turn them in. Press strongly through each fingertip, move your shoulder blades apart. Next breath in, extend your right leg into the air, squeeze your right glute. A lizard lunge, use your exhale to step your foot on the outside of your right hand, lift up your chest. Deep breath through your nose, back to three-legged down dog, and then come back to lizard. Bend your elbows like a push-up, sneak your leg behind you, and transition into cobra or upward facing dog. And then shift your hips up and back into down dog for the other side. Breathe in to lift your left leg into the air. Exhale for lizard, planting your left foot on the outside of your left hand. Coming back to three-legged down dog. Back to lizard, bend your elbows, bring your leg behind you, and sweep your chest forward. And come back to a down dog. Gaze forward, step or lightly hop into malasana or a yogi squat. Feel free to place a block under your tailbone. Breathe to rise to standing, arms up overhead. Exhale back into your yogi squat. Repeat this 2 more times at your pace, matching the breath to movement, rising with the inhale, exhaling into the squat. Next breath in, come to standing, arms up overhead, bring your palms to center, walk to the top of your mat. Plant your feet hips width distance apart, breathe in for chair pose, poke your tailbone back, hands up overhead. Exhale, bring your forearms together. Repeat this again using your breath, and as you exhale, sitting a little deeper into your chair. Ground through your left foot and take a big step back with your right foot. Make the outer edge of your right foot parallel with the short edge of your mat. Horizon your arms into your left foot. Step back into chair pose with your forearms together. And then transition back into warrior two, opening up again. Take as much space up on your mat as possible. Gaze over your left middle finger and relax your shoulders down from your ears. Act as if you're trying to bring your heels together, but they won't budge. Flip your left palm up, reverse warrior. Reach your left arm up and over your ear, turn your chest upward. Feel free to rest your right palm on your leg. Travel back to warrior two, straighten your left leg. Reach your hips back into space, triangle pose, trikonasana. This is a good time to grab your block, place it on the outside of your foot, reach your arm into the air, horizoning your arms, lean your head back into space, rotate your heart upward. If you don't have a block, your hand on your shin or ankle will suffice. Next breath in, reach your right arm overhead. Feel a nice stretch from your right hip to your right fingertips. Keep your heart rotating upward. Straighten both legs as much as possible and remember to breathe in this expansive triangle posture, trikonasana. Travel back to warrior two. Begin to sweep your right hand forward. Lift your right heel for a high lunge. Drive through your left foot. Step into a one-legged Tadasana, arms up overhead. Exhale into chair pose, forearms together. Stay here or find your eagle with your right leg on top, your right arm underneath. Breathe in to lift your chest. Exhale to meet your knees to your elbows. Repeat this one more time. Really round your spine. And breathe in to unwind from eagle pose, lifting your right foot, arms up overhead. Exhale to lower. Breathe in to sit back into chair. Bring your forearms together, arms up overhead, and then forearms together. Balance onto your right foot. Take a big step back with your left for warrior two. Drive through your right foot. Big breath in to step back into chair pose with your forearms together. And then travel back to warrior two in this expansive posture, making sure you can see your right big toe, extending your arms, relax your shoulders, remembering to breathe. Isometrically pull your legs together and then flip your right palm, reach your right arm over your ear for reverse warrior, rotating your chest upward, lunging forward, and then back into warrior two. Straighten both legs. Feel free to grab your block at this point. Travel into triangle pose, reaching your hips back. Bring your block behind your foot. Rotate your heart upward. Keep your legs strong, thinking about pulling them together, but they won't budge. And then reach your left arm over your ear. Feel a nice stretch on the left side of your body. Staying with your breath. Take up as much space on your mat as possible. Slightly lean your head back and reach the crown of your head forward. Then travel back to warrior two. Feel free to shorten your stance. Sweep your left arm forward. Lift your left heel. Drive through your right foot for one-legged Tadasana. Transition into chair pose with your forearms together, or eagle with your left leg on top and your left arm underneath. Breathe in to lift up your chest. And then compress, bringing your elbows toward your knees, and repeat this again. And next time, unwind, balance on your right foot, and it's okay if it takes you a moment to lower your left foot with control. Place your hands on your hips for stability. Balance onto your left foot. Lift your right. Take a step behind you for a horse stance or a wide-legged squat, goddess pose. Turn both your feet out. Bring your forearms together. Then to open your arms to cactus, lift your chest. Exhale, forearms together. Follow this 2 more times at your own pace with your breath, kind of like a goddess cat-cow. If this feels good, stay with that, or bring your hands to the inside of your knee. Breathe in to lift up your chest. Exhale to round. And you can stay with this movement for 2 more times. Tucking your tailbone as you round. And as you're breathing, lifting up your chest, separating your sit bones, pushing your knees out. And then bring your hands to your hips, straighten your legs. Prepare your right foot to be your standing leg and drive through your right foot. Lift your left knee, lower your left knee with control. You should be facing the back of your mat at this point. Bring your feet hips width distance apart and grab onto your elbows in front of your shoulders and rise onto your tippy toes and really press through the balls of your feet. And start to slowly bend your knees, taking your time to lower your tailbone down, keeping the weight on the balls of your feet right below your big toes. Just lower down inch by inch with as much control as possible, keeping your heels lifted. And see if you could gently lower your tailbone onto the ground, hug your knees into your chest, and then roll back slowly. Breathe in and transition into Ananda bliss or happy baby. Hold onto your big toes with your peace sign fingers, or wrap your hands behind your ankles and grab onto the outer edges of your feet. Really press your low back into the ground and remember to breathe. Bring the soles of your feet together for a supine butterfly or souped up Baddha Konasana. If you have blocks or any type of cushion or anything, it's a good time to grab that and place them under your knees so your knees can rest in this open position. Face your palms upward toward the sky by your side. And just sink into the ground. And for a few moments, let each thought, each urge, each distraction or disturbance pass you by with each breath. Take as long as you need in this Shavasana, this final resting position. Thank you so much for coming to practice with me. Namaste.